Yeah, so a little bit about me, just so you guys kind of understand and get some background. Over the last 2 years, I've definitely toned down my physical, or my digital presence and stuff like that, due to the nature of the space that we live in crypto and kind of like everything that entails being in the space. So I decided to take a step back and really have an investor role, an advisor role. Um, Somebody that could actually go and get invested in projects in early venture and things of this nature, acquiring projects. Recently, we acquired a project in the NFT space as well. So just really being able to go from somebody that was producing and making money to working on multiplying it. Therefore, I kind of had to step back a little bit on my social presence and focus on multiplication of wealth. So my startup is I come from a third world country. I come from Argentina. If people know where that
No
is, that's
way.
completely on the other side of the continent. So all the way down south.
I'm from
Came to
Chile,
the
by the way.
U.S. Oh, you're from Chile? Okay, perfect.
Hmm.
So we'll have great conversations over some mate or something
That would be
sometime
amazing.
soon. But yeah, so at the age of 16, with $200 and a suitcase, I made my way to the U.S. I won't even get into the details, bother people. But I worked in kitchens, washed dishes, served tables, did door-to-door sales, uh, went to university, dropped out of university, worked a traditional job, dropped out of a traditional job, and eventually an opportunity came to me back in 2016 to really start building Facebook ads, right, and Facebook ad agencies and things of this nature. So when Facebook was actually easy to kind of do, that's what we were kind of focused on doing. And as my relationship kind of developed with people on Facebook at that time, yeah, just started gaining clients. Got to the point, it was February, I think, of 2000 17 or 18, one of those years. I forget exactly when. I quit my job and was like, fuck it, I'm out of here. And ever since then, started building businesses. I realized that I was running Facebook traffic and paid traffic, and the level of fucking growth that I was bringing my clients, my companies, month over month, just doubling their revenue. I'm fucking nuts. And I said, whoa, 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 let me do this myself. But I didn't really know how. And I
Hmm.
started looking into ecom, what ecom was, in 2017. It was like, it was very fresh. 2016, it was kind of that time where, there was people in the game, but at the same time, the competition wasn't insane. And people would still, buy a picture ad of some bullshit that they would see online because of the nature of the time, right? It was so
Right.
early on. It's like people buying shitty NFTs, right?
Hmm.
It's the same kind of uh, mindset or purchasing off of impulse
Right.
that people were kind of going towards. So yeah, so basically started with e-commerce, built multiple eight-figure drop shipping businesses. I always operated them in the general niche, in the general space. That was kind of where my focus was, and where I really kind of excelled. My mentality in the process was uh, find bigger niches that were evergreen and
Hmm.
that weren't capped by audience size and that weren't capped by product, right? So by product line. So for example, if you look at something extremely niched, like a certain type of dog that is a certain color and that is a certain breed, you're going to have less of an audience than if you had cleaning household products, right? Like the niche is completely different. The demographic is completely different. So I wanted to focus on evergreen niches right off the bat. And something that I started doing was I would select niches contingent on the season or the world events that were taking place that would push organic traffic and
Oh,
engagement
wow.
onto my ads. What people don't understand about advertising nowadays is that you get live feedback and live reviews from the people viewing you in your comment section. But if you were intelligent enough to utilize that section as a forum instead of a comment section, now you can start building crazy engagement inside there. Instead of being a woman being like, let's say you have a dog park and be like, oh, my dog would love this. And be like, yes, get it here for 50% off, like an absolute fucking amateur. Instead, you train your staff to say things like, oh, awesome. Do you have a photo of your dog? And then the next comment is an upload. And now what you're doing is you're creating something that nobody has ever understood, which is how to drive organic traffic, because that's what Facebook, that's what these platforms want,
Right.
organic. but that you need to pay your way into that initial site. And that's why people fail in e-commerce, is because they're not understanding how to drive the audience and maintain the audience in an organic format.
Mm-hmm.
Facebook didn't grow 1 million users organically. They had strategy, right? And they had paid traffic. TikTok didn't become the #1 app in the world by chance. They spent billions of dollars advertising, but eventually they had something that transitioned into an organic evergreen state. And if you can do that in the comment section of your ads, you're an absolute phenomenon. And nobody has ever talked about that, because I truly believe nobody has ever even thought about it in that way. And I know about it because I used to have some of the biggest ads on Facebook when it came to e-commerce in the world. I had ads that had 250 million views in paid traffic, where I was getting 50,000 comments on my ads. And I would literally create threads and conversations with people, and people would exchange comments and phone numbers like crazy shit. People were gifting themselves coupons and gifts from my store in there, because you were creating such an evergreen ecosystem.
You were nurturing them.
Exactly. And I was understanding that on the other side, the ad that I was creating wasn't just designed to sell, but it was designed to convince people that what they were about to do was a good decision. And usually that comes from a place where you have, crowd like mentality, or you have this mob mentality, or you have this FOMO, or you have people reassuring or approving you. And usually comes from situations. And I learned kind of how to put these things together with a book that I really recommend. It's called The Psychology of Persuasion. And in The Psychology of Persuasion, it talks about simple ideas that you can add in your copy, simple ideas that you can add in your interactions with customers that increase the likelihood of getting the outcome that you desire. And what people don't understand is that maybe the outcome that you desire initially isn't a sale. And when you can understand that the sale isn't the most important thing, but it's the person behind the sale, then you become unstoppable, because you can resonate with your audience. And you can do that from a drop shipping level to a branded store level. You just need to understand human behavior, how people work, and that's it. Right? You don't need a storefront, you don't need whatever, because the amount of business that I give to unbranded businesses that I don't even know, it's most of my business. I go to LA, I want to do an event for Capital Club. I call up some mumbo jumbo shop that I find in like on Google that sells chairs. They don't have a social media presence. They don't have like a following or a community or a brand. They just have a service that I need. And if the service is good and it's quality, I'm going to use it again. Right. And it's in that interaction that you win, and that you have an edge against your competitors. So yeah,
dude, that's incredible. There's a lot of things that you mentioned that I think even translate to, I'm sure what we'll get into the next step in your journey, NFTs, and even nurturing relationships with higher valued people. Something I saw, for example, is that you're close with the Tan brothers, a couple legends in the e-commerce space. So I think something you understand is leverage, and how to maximize your leverage in every single possible avenue, even in like comments of your ads. Like, people don't think about that. So my next question for you is, how did you go from like, this guy from Argentina hustling, making it to this certain level, and then now positioning yourself in a way where you are networking with some of the top people in the industry and, building these connections that are just building your leverage?
What I would say is you need to be valuable. Valuable people know what they want, and many times they're not going to ask for it. You just have to be willing to provide it. And most people don't understand that high tier relationships, if you want to do business with me, you don't just do business with me. There's a step, there's a process, there's a flow, there's things that I want to see, there's things that I ask my partners to do that determine whether you're a partner. Some of these relationships that I've nurtured them for 4 or 5 years. There's relationships that I've nurtured in business for a decade. And it comes